In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can do the drawing images and pictures assignment that comes up next in this lesson. I've already opened the HTML files in Notepad, and I've already launched the files in Chrome so we can see what they do. These are, by the way, these are from the Section 5 demo and completed images example folders. So what we're looking at here is the completed example, and I'm just going to show part of this. As far as drawing images goes, for this assignment, clicking on this button here, this draws an image on the canvas. And clicking on this button here draws a picture. I'm calling this a picture. My definition of a picture for this assignment is simply any shape that is filled in. I happen to be using random coordinates for drawing shapes here. You can either use random coordinates or purposeful coordinates to draw specific pictures, however you want to do it. So let me show you how this works. I will move code from the completed example into the demo file to demonstrate how I did this. So here's the completed example code, and let's start with the buttons. In this case, we only have 2 buttons now at the bottom of the page. And let's notice while we're here that there's a select planets function, that the planets button, or that the solar system, I should say, button calls this function. And the polygon, even though technically it's not a polygon, I'm calling it that, the polygon button runs the select polygon function. So let's remember that. Let's copy and paste this into the demo version of the file, and we'll just replace all of these buttons with the 2 that we have now. Then we need those functions. The polygon and the planets function. Let's make sure we get the whole thing. And we'll paste those in up towards the top. We don't need the select straight and select curved functions anymore, so we'll just replace those. We should also make sure that we have all the variables. And for right now, ignore all these array variables because we're going to talk about that in a later demo. So we'll just use the variables down to that. Paste those in, and I notice there's some more variables down below here. And we'll paste those in. Okay. So let's focus right here on the code that draws the image of the sun on the canvas. We just copied and pasted it over here. I'm going to save it before I go on. Here are the 3 elements that you need in your code. The first one is the element is the command that creates an image object. Now that's what this is here. This is an image object, and you're instantiating a new one by using the new command, and you're assigning the object to this variable here. In this case, we're calling it sun because it's an image of the sun that we're using. And then we just assign to the source property of this image object, we assign the actual PNG file, and this may remind you a little bit of the syntax that's used in the image tags in HTML, and it is very similar, where you say source equals and then the name of the image file. Once you've assigned the image file to the source property of the image object that we're calling sun, then we run a function, or we create a function that is based on the onload event. So what this really does here is, as soon as this is loaded by the browser, it triggers the onload event. And when the onload event is triggered, then it draws the sun. And this is the line that does the drawing. So we put this inside the onload function so that it doesn't attempt to draw the image before it gets loaded. It waits until it is loaded and then draws it. So these are the main elements of an image drawing code that you would add to your HTML document. Now let's test it and see if it works. We've already saved it, so let's just go to the browser and we'll go to the demo version and refresh. And now we see first of all, the buttons that we copied over. Let's see if the code works that puts the sun image on the canvas. So when we check this to see if it works, we click the button and nothing happens. And this could be a moment where it would be helpful for me to demonstrate a troubleshooting step you can take. If you hit the F12 key, it opens up a console that tells you what errors you're getting. And we're being told that the canvas is not defined. And what that does is remind me of another chunk of code that needs to be copied from the completed example code into the demo code. And that is right here in the completed example. If we scroll down to the bottom, you can see that we actually find the canvas here in a script that we've written at the bottom of just inside the bottom of the body tag. So let's just copy that and paste it over. We'll explain in the next demo why this is here, because it has to do with being able to click on the canvas to draw things, but that's not in this demo. But this does, these two lines here need to happen before you can draw on the canvas. So we'll save that here in the demo version of the code, then come back and refresh, and now we click on it and now it works. So we've been able to draw an image on our canvas using those commands that I demonstrated earlier. Now for the second thing, which is to draw a picture or a shape that's filled in. Again, this can be a random shape of abstract art or something that you want to draw, like a face with eyes, or a car or a tree, anything. So this is drawn from the picture drawing code that I want to explain next. And you'll find this in the Draw Now function right here. There's some if statements in this function that tell us if the user has selected planets or the polygon. And inside the polygon portion of the if statement, you see this string of commands that draws a picture. And you can see that all the coordinates that are used are variables. That's because all of the coordinates are randomly generated, and you're familiar with that by now. The point here is to actually explain how we create a picture with a string of commands like this. This first command, the canvas width equals canvas width, simply clears the canvas. It redraws a new canvas for you so that between every click you get a blank screen. So this string of commands that draws the image or draws the picture starts with a random, in this case, or not random, an optional fill style command to pick a color. If you don't pick this color, it would be black by default. But here you need the command to begin the path. Then you have a command for the beginning point of your path drawing. Then a line 2, or actually any of these really in any order, but a line 2 command will work to draw a line from this point to this point. Then we draw a quadratic curve from this point to this point using these 2 points as the attractors, and then we draw another quadratic curve to these points to this point, sorry, with this point as the attractor. Then we do another line 2 to another set of points. Actually, we do another line 2 back to the original to close the shape. Then we use the stroke command to draw the line, and we use the close path command to say that this is the end of this particular path, and then we fill it in with the color that we indicated with the fill style. And let me demonstrate that on the completed example. Two straight lines and two quadratic curves coming back to the original point every time, as you can see. And the color is generated randomly from a set of colors that are stored in an array, and we will talk about arrays in the next demonstration. That completes the demonstration of how to do this assignment.